like a Hellcat.
Good smile. Good job. Hi guys. Hi. You can smile and wave. Congratulations. Congratulations. Yeah. There's a smile. Good work. Good work, girls.
Please remain standing for the playing of our Star-Spangled Banner. Thank you, and you may be seated. Good afternoon, and welcome to today's class of 2020 commencement ceremonies. Let me introduce today's special guest seated on the front row of the track. School board members, Mr. Alan Klein and Mr. Ron Houghton. Superintendent, Dr. Smith. Elementary representative, Mr. Steve Bearden. Middle school representative, Mr. Scott Bolin. High school representative, Mrs. Michelle Bradley. Faculty speaker, Mrs. Emily Chima. Graduate announcer, Mrs. Dixie Forsch. and Assistant High School Principal Athletic Director, Mr. Brent Bagnall. I want to welcome everyone to today's graduation ceremony. Today's graduation marks the beginning of these students' path toward success. To put it simply, future graduates, you have almost done it. And today marks the accumulation of 13 years of education in the classroom and activities that you have participated in, and the many friends that you've made while here at South Tama. We are proud that you will soon be South Tama County graduates. There are always reasons why things work out the way they did. This pandemic has changed the way we go about our daily lives, and it has not been fair to anyone. We would like to believe that in the end, we will all be your future success. I encourage all of you to take the opportunity this diploma will give you and become the best you can be now and into the future. At the conclusion of today's commencement exercises, please stand when the recessional song is played and remain at your seats until all graduates and guests have left the stadium area. Also today, we want to remind everyone, please practice social distancing so we can keep everyone safe. Thank you for your cooperation, and at this time, we will begin today's graduation ceremony. Class speakers for the seniors are Michaela Bakken and Julie Mata. Michaela and Julie.
Good afternoon, graduates, family, friends, teachers, and community members. I am Michaela Bakken, your class of 2020 valedictorian. Today, we are finally able to reunite and graduate like we have dreamed about doing since we first started elementary school. I'm sure a lot of you experienced the same thing I did on my first day of preschool. I cried and cried to my teacher, Mrs. Rusher, about how much I miss my mom and dad. But today, if you look out into the crowd, you will see it is now our moms and dads' time, because their little girls and boys are no longer alone. In fact, we are taking our first big step into the real world. But before we finalize this whole thing, let's do a little recap of our younger years as Trojans. Let's start in elementary, where we were the first class to start preschool in the new school. While in elementary, we participated in all of the basic little kid things, like the annual Christmas concerts, class holiday parties, and Shadow Day visits to the grade ahead of us before we left school for the summer. When the weather was bad and we were stuck inside for recess, we would play MASH on the whiteboards to find out who our future husbands and wives would be. And when the weather was nice we would go outside, we would play Foursquare and argue about what was actually allowed and what wasn't. So many fun things happened while we were in elementary, but eventually we grew up and had to go to the middle school that was blazing hot in the summer and wicked cold in the winter. Regardless of the temperature though, we had some really good times there too. Do you guys remember when Miss Van Zandt would get all excited about math and jump up and down while banging on the whiteboard because fractions were just that awesome? Or how about when we finally had school dances, but we were all way too nervous to actually dance, so we stood there awkwardly for half of it? Middle school is also when we started to use iPads every day for our classes, instead of the traditional paper and pencil we were used to. There are many more memories that our class got to live through while in middle school, but we don't have enough time to talk about all of them. So now, let's move on to high school. I know for a fact that the majority of us were all nervous for our first day of high school. Would we get lost? Would the seniors be mean? There were so many uncertainties, but soon we would come to find out that high school wasn't even that bad. We'd come to learn that we would get lost, maybe once or 10 times, or that some seniors would be mean and others would become our new best friends. We'd also come to know all of the advantages and new freedoms that came with high school. For example, we would now have classes with people from every grade level and could take college classes that counted for both high school and college credits. Also, once we became seniors, we were able to have a senior lunch where we could leave campus. But we all know some of us started that privilege way before we were supposed to. We also got to experience super hype pep rallies before big football games and other pep rallies where you practically fall asleep at. Another thing we did was attend I don't even know how many college fairs at Marshtown Community College. Finally, the biggest change once we got to high school was the amount of activities we were able to take a part in. In middle school, we only had a few sports, band, and choir. However, once we got to high school, we had an unlimited amount of activities that we could participate in that didn't even include a sport or fine art. For example, there was Game Squad, Geekery, and the Science Club. No matter how we chose to spend our 4 years in high school, we survived and are all at the same place today, graduation. Today, we start our journey into adulthood. This can be scary, but it can also be a lot of fun. Don't let life freak you out like you let high school freak you out the summer between 8th grade and freshman year. Life will be harder than high school, but it will be well worth the journey. We have learned a lot about life while growing up, and we will continue to learn. But it is important to not hang our heads when we are facing the obstacles life places in front of us. Stay true to yourself, know you are strong and capable of anything, and never give up on what you wish to see yourself accomplish. Don't be afraid to spread your wings, class of 2020.
Good job.
Good job, Michaela.
Thank you.
Next.
Next up is your elected class speaker, Julie Mata.
Can you hear me?
Get it? Because I'm in the box.
I'm sorry.
Good afternoon, graduates, family, friends, teachers, and community members. I'm Julie Mata, honored to be selected by the class of 2020 to speak at our graduation ceremony. Buenas tardes, graduados, familiares, amigos, maestros y miembros de la comunidad. Soy Julie Mata. Tengo el honor de ser seleccionada por mis compañeros para hablar de nuestra ceremonia de graduación. Education is a word that means many different things to many different people. Education doesn't mean a brick building with desks. In fact, in Latin, it's derived from the root word duc, which not only means to lead, but out. To lead out. The suffix shun is the action of doing something. So education is the act of leading out. Graduation is the passageway from adolescence to adulthood. It is a ceremony that leads us out, ending our careers as obliged students and into adulthood. Our desires in life vary. Some of us want to obtain a degree, others want to work, and some of us simply getting out of bed each morning is a day well done. Education not only opens the doorway to freedom, but it offers the necessary tools to succeed once we cross that threshold. We will always continue our education. as it is not a textbook or essays. It's the skill of learning and developing one's character throughout life. While education in Latin means lead out, the words high school in Latin roughly translate to the best or the worst years of your life. High school. It has marked first kisses, dances, game days, competitions, opening nights, and most of all, laughs. For some of us, it's marked some of the hardest years of our lives, full of moments of worry, anxiety. It has made us question our own morality. It has increased our awareness and directed our moral compasses. We learned about empathy through our experiences, in our classes, and from our interactions with one another and with the world through social media. We found causes to champion, people to support, and reasons to participate. We want to see the world change so badly that sometimes we forget it is our responsibility to make that change happen. We have to push forward and make the world better for ourselves, not only for us, but for those around us, so everyone can have a lovable, showing up to a live graduation in a pandemic, and still having the heart to stand before your peers, your loved ones, your community with pride, and to assure us that some risks are worth it. At this age, some of us still don't know how to make a sandwich, or we've forgotten how to write cursive. Others of us have acted as their own parents and held their own heads up high, proving that resilience is not just a word, but a state of being. Coming into high school, we experienced the construction that would better our school. While yes, we did complain about the noise, the heat, we waited and trusted the process that we went through. In the end, we got a luxury that in middle school we only dreamed of: air conditioning. On March 15, 2020, the world before changed us. It was a slow process at first, with schools shutting down, to staying inside, to wearing masks, then activities and events being canceled completely. We did not have the one last dance, or to defend our titles in our spring activities, or to be in a production one last time, or to walk across that infamous stage. 2020 has not been a normal year, nor a traditional one. 2020 has brought us coronavirus, Carol Baskin, and a collective social distancing. And while there has been plenty of bad news, there's also been positives too. Personally, this is the first time I've ever eaten dinner with my family every night since I started high school. Though it didn't seem important before, when I finally got to do it, it made me realize the importance of it. To have communion with the people you love means to share morals and have a likeness between those involved. Families, as proven, are not always bound by blood. It's the ability to open up about the subjects you're passionate about and to feel unconditionally cared for. When we are provided with these spaces, we have the comfort to move forward and advocate for ourselves and others. School, for many of us, was or is a haven. The bonds that we have built within school are closer to families than anything else. Never in our lives had we had this much free time since we were kids. Some of us have used this time to work, experience art, literature, sport, as well as mindlessly scrolling through social media. And if I see one more person recording a TikTok on my essential run, I'm gonna lose it. When we first learned about COVID-19, it never actually crossed our minds that it was a threat. But the pandemic lockdown has allowed us to reflect our own morals and consider what the future holds. At the beginning of the year, we would joke around about it. When someone was coughing, we would instantly label it. Now the magnitude has been felt in the most real ways possible. I cannot tell you if anything will ever be normal again. Every day we are proving as the class of 2020 our flexibility and adversity to rise above our situations. Hope and dreams, two things that are free in this life. They not only remedy pain, but are the motivation to move forward. every single time someone tries to count you out, shut them up and prove them what you're made of. This pandemic has allowed us to open our eyes, to tend to wounds so open that they don't allow us to look away. We have to tend to them firsthand. We are the generation that marked change. We have protested for what we believe in, making the voices of the underrepresented heard. Our whole lives, we've been dodging uncertainty. We entered the world during 9/11, and we are graduating during a worldwide pandemic. The mistakes and letdowns of others have been placed on our shoulders, but we do not cower or flee. We stand tall and demand what is needed, because we are tired of being dumped on, and we will change what needs to be fixed. We are the generation that will continue to do that. We are tired of action not being taken, and we can no longer sit back and watch. We cannot be bystanders to injustice nor oppression. We can restore the decency to not only our planet, but to all those people living on it. And that's when our job will be done. We will keep fighting for our right to speak up and speak out. Hope and dreams never cost us a thing, and we will ensure our future descendants that we will know, and that they will know that. Trust the process of change. They have been difficult. We've had difficult conversations, and we cannot rewrite history, but we can forge the path of a new birth of freedom. Life brings about the most bountiful paths. It is the living part that gets difficult. For when we truly start living, that is when our stories unravel before our very eyes, sometimes at a rate too fast for us to comprehend. The very thing that divides us are the factors that unite us. This is dedicated to my community, my family, and especially to my theater troupe, 1038. You made me realize my purpose. Gracias la clase de 2020. Ha sido un honor estar con ustedes todos estos años. No tengo más que esperanza para este futuro de esta clase. Felicidades. Thank you to the class of 2020. It's been an honor to be with you all these years. I have nothing but hope for what this class will become. Congratulations.
Good job.
Thank you, young ladies, both of them outstanding speeches today. At this time, we normally have our foreign exchange students speak, but due to the coronavirus, both students had to leave the United States early. Our foreign exchange students this year, Liska Permakova from the Czech Republic, host parents were Kendall and Barb Jordan. Also, we have Lorena Niederhauser from Switzerland. Host parents were Joe and Molly Tafta. At this time, our faculty speaker will be Mrs. Emily Chima.
Go get him.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Emily Chima, and I'm the social studies teacher here at STC. It has been a tremendous honor to have been chosen to speak at the class of 2020's graduation. The seniors, oh man, I owe you an apology. When you were picking your class motto, I did not realize how fully committed you were to the whole full send or no send lifestyle. You took that whole senior skip day to a whole nother level. Now, okay, jokes aside, it is so good for the soul to see all of you here today. So, a few weeks ago, I ran into two of my favorite senior parents, and we started talking about the senior class. The dad said, you know, these kids didn't even realize it was their last day of school. It's an important lesson they learned that you can't take things for granted. That is stellar advice, but seriously, Who could have predicted that 2020 would sound like a chapter in the Hunger Games? Our world has been shaken, but what if there's a silver lining? I found this quote on Twitter, because I had a ton of time for Twitter, from Leslie Dwight that hit me. What if 2020 is the year we've been waiting for? A year so uncomfortable, so painful, so raw, that it finally forces us to grow. A year that screams so loud, finally awakening us from our ignorant slumber. A year we finally accept the need for change, declare the change, work for change, become the change. A year we finally band together instead of pushing each other further apart. So here's the silver lining. One of the most dangerous phrases is over now. Please report to the principal's office. No, I'm talking about the phrase, this is how we have always done things. It's gone. You are at a crucial time in history where the world needs to change, and it is ready for people like you to make those changes. Now, I'm sure hearing this, it stirs up some feelings. I bet you are scared, or nervous, maybe angry, or even indifferent. I'm going to do what I've always said I would do for you. I'm going to be honest. You're going to be okay. Seriously, Chima, this is your graduation speech and that's the best you have? You're going to be okay? Yep. Because at this moment, as you are staring out at your friends and family at a moment that you have wanted, but is totally different than you pictured, you need to hear that you will be okay. You are starting the quote-unquote adult part of your life, and whether you want to admit it or not, it's got you thinking and questioning. You will be okay. You want to know why I know that? Because I have watched you grow up. I have watched you as nervous little ninth graders walk into the high school for the first time. And you acted cool, but we could all tell and see you were pooping your proverbial pants. In the last 4 years, you've made mistakes. Like, I don't know, taking the floor cleaner for a spin. But you owned up to them. You learned from them. Your hearts got broken, but you helped each other put the pieces together. You found your voice, and you raised others up. You are compassionate, fierce, and brilliant young people, and I am so proud of all of you. The world needs you, and you are ready. So, here are my parting words. Full send or no send. Do not let the past or society try to define you and what you are capable of. I want you to listen to the scientists, but more so, I want you to be the scientists. I want you to be the doctors, the nurses, the police officers, the activists, the teachers, and the leaders. I want you to not only go out and vote, but I also want you to be on the ballot. Be the mayor, the school board member, the senator, the president. Hey, Mata Padilla 2040. Sorry, Fabian, you may have been the homecoming queen, but you've been going to be the president. Most importantly, be you. But don't let anyone else define what you are capable of. This is how we've always done things is gone. It is up to you to write the new history. And I'll be here to teach it. Thank you, class of 2020.
Thank you, Mrs. Chima. At this time, we want to recognize our students for superior academic achievement. Mr. Bagnall, read your name. We would like the following seniors to stand up and please remain standing until all names are read. Mr. Bagnall will tell you you may be seated.
Callie Frakes, Destiny Johnson, Lincoln Kingbird, Maisie Lucina, Jesus Razzo. Allison Thomason. Wesley Upaw. And Rochelle Werner. The following students have graduated with distinction. That is a grade point average of 3.75 and above. Michaela Bakken. Nathaniel Drummer. Delijah Johnson. Mitchell Knock. Julie Mata. Brianna Morrison. Hannah Novotny. Perla Nunez. Jacob Perk. Caitlin Rhea. Clarissa Rosenberger. Abigail Sandvik. Congratulations for your academic prowess. You may be seated. Now I'd like to recognize our salutatorian and valedictorian. With the second highest grade point in the class, our salutatorian is Hannah Novotny. Our class valedictorian, you heard from her earlier, Michaela Bakken. Thank you and congratulations.
At this time, our Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Jared Smith, will present the class of 2020.
Greetings, students, staff, community, and members of the South Tama County School Board. I, Dr. Jared Smith, Superintendent, do hereby certify that the 96 students standing before you have completed the requirements for the graduation from high school prescribed under the law by the state of Iowa. By the power vested in me by the South Tama County School Board, I hereby confer upon the members of the class of 2020 a high school diploma with all the rights, honors, and responsibilities pertaining thereto. Congratulations. We salute your dedication and perseverance as you continue your path to success.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. At this time, Mrs. Dixie Force will announce the graduates.
Testing. Yanira Ariza. Garrett Lee Arp. Michaela Marie Bakken. Alexis Baeza. Kaylee Ann Benda. Raven Kaya Benner. Connor Ryan Blocker. Vincent Gerald Brannon. Xander Britton.